Hello, Saint Lucia. Thank you for joining me on yet another episode of Uncut. I am your host, Lisa Joahil. Today we have in studio Dr. Stephen King, a man of who's wearing many hats. I know you're a pathologist. I know you're an activist for young people. I know you're very involved in the community, former chief medical officer as well.
Yeah,
So I know we're going to touch on a lot of things with Dr. King today. But Dr. King, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you're here. I know we had an entire interview right before this one, but we need to share this information with our viewers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Wow, I can't believe you're in studio with me today. I have followed your work for a very long time, and I really need to thank you as a young person for the impact that you have created on many lives in Saint Lucia, especially with your organization, Rise Saint Lucia. So Dr. King, please tell our viewers who you are, how you started getting involved, and a little more about what you do.
First of all, I have to tell you thank you for that thank you, because it means a lot. Because that's the energy we feed off and we grow from. So most times when I've been most down and things are not working, somebody has said something like that and it just got me up to get up again and feels good. So thank you for that. And talking about Rise Saint Lucia has really been a journey for me, which I truly enjoyed. It had its ups and downs, but it's such a beautiful organization and it's such a beautiful mission. And it's such beautiful people, because at the very beginning, it started with Dr. Bird, Jacqueline Bird, who has been a good friend of mine from the time we were in medical school together. Very bright woman, very conscious, and of course a pediatrician, so very much focused on children and always been a very strong child advocate and protecting the rights of children. And that always inspired me. And then, of course, I had Jonathan Ninja Dancing Rose, who saw me at an airport and said we were doing some anti-violence ads with DBS, and he saw me and he said, Dr. King, you serious? So I said, which is a question young people will often ask of us older people, are you serious? Or is this just more mouthing, more talking, yet more lip service because you want to feel good about yourself, right?
Very bold.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, actually I am. So he said, okay, let's talk. And so when he came back, Dr. Bud and I met, and he articulated a vision for us, what we still call Rise, a national vision. It's a document we have that we go back to. Because for about 3 hours he spoke, and he outlined, and he was a young man from difficult situations, difficult communities, difficult life, trying to make it with lots of aspiration and lots of ambition. And it was really good to get to capture that. And that has helped us along the way. So we started actually in 2007. And it also, the other thing that really got me going was that I had just come out of the chief medical officer post. And I'd done an exit interview on the HIV/AIDS program. We were just in the middle of the World Bank project. In fact, we're just finishing the World Bank project, HIV/AIDS project. And I was asked a question that startled me a bit. It said, has it had the impact on the youth that you would have anticipated? I thought about that, and the answer to that was no, I don't think it has. And then I realized that, we are not, this generation, my generation, which were designing and putting programs out there, are not engaging with the young people in the manner in which it's truly effective, because it's a patronizing approach.
Okay.
So we said, no, we can't do that anymore. We have to work with people, young people in particular, because really and truly this country is their country. It's our country together.
From the
onset and partner. That intergenerational partnership is so important. Because yes, we have experience, we have certain knowledge, we have networks which we can bring. But the young people have ideas and energy, and they have lives to live, and they have ambitions, and together we can make it great. So that's really how it was born. And it's moved on from there, and it's, you are right, it's had some significant impact. It's a very small organization, but we say the organization is small, but the movement is massive. So Rise the movement is much bigger than Rise the organization. Because all Rise the organization does is plant seeds as we can, make things happen, and then let them grow. Because if it's truly a good project, it will seed it will grow, it will do its own thing. People will have ownership and they will run with it. So that's really how it started and how it's going. And we've had the World Pediatric Program was something that Dr. Bird had started. The government did not want to take it on.
Okay.
So Rise ran it.
Why is that?
Well, governments are very bureaucratic, and governments are loath to, you come to them with a program and say, what's it going to cost? We're going to have to hire someone. Oh, we don't have the budget, blah, 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 blah. Right? And I've been in government, so I know the blah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, at the end of the day, what do you do? A civil society organization, you see a need, you see an opportunity, government not ready to participate. Okay, we do it ourselves.
But the same way you can do it, the same way you were able to get it done is the same way they could have gotten it done.
Of course.
Okay.
But the truth is, I'm not going to spend all my hot air sitting at meetings arguing with you how important it is. At the end of the day, like Jonathan Sanders always said, you know what we do? We do it. We show you by our action. So we just did it.
Okay.
Now, government is taking it, by the way.
Okay.
So it's now a government project. And program. That's brilliant. And literally dozens upon dozens of our children have had surgery, cardiac corrective surgery, neurosurgery, difficult surgeries they've otherwise never had. So that's one little example of a project that people might not really even know about. Then there are all the education opportunities, because our mantra, and I think you were with us recently at a training, our mantra, and I don't know if we put it there, but we believe what our Nobel laureate Sir Arthur Lewis said. The fundamental cure for poverty is not money but knowledge.
I say this all the time, Dr.
Yeah.
K.
It's the truth.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
If we do not know how to get it done, we won't be able to get it done. So the knowledge is the power that can drive us to create those opportunities where we don't have to have a situation of poverty in Saint Lucia anymore, but we're not investing heavily in the foundation, which is education. So tell us some more about some of the other initiatives that Rise Saint Lucia is doing currently.
Okay, well, currently we've just launched our Safe Spaces project.
Brilliant.
program.
Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed this one. So I can say I'm a safe talker on suicide prevention now.
Yes, you
I
are.
did not do the full program. I know there were
Two other
aspects
days.
to it. Okay.
Yeah, with the violence interruption.
Okay, so tell
But
us about
the safe talk is so beautiful, because like you, I did the safe talk completely, but I had to be in and out from the violence interruption training. But we had a number of people there who we were training to help us to implement safe spaces. And what it's all about is getting communities, people in community, to have the knowledge and to be so empowered by that knowledge that we can take control of the spaces in which we raise our children. For us, it may sound trite, but it's really all about the children. Because we live this life as a relay. It's not a race to the finish, it's a relay race.
Yeah.
And I run with the baton, and Lisa, I pass it to you. And I say, Lisa,
I love that
run.
analogy.
Right? So that's what this thing is all about. So what we're doing is building our children, so our children can create a better future for themselves, and essentially for us too. So Safe Spaces actually started before that Safe Talk and Violence Interruption training. We started before with a grant from Lucia
How long ago was that?
last year.
Okay.
So last year, June, Lucia gave us a grant and to start in Cicero as a pilot community to implement safe spaces there. And essentially, we focused on parenting. So we worked with the Anglican Church, with the Mothers Union, who do a parenting program, and have a nice parenting manual. We trained people to be parent facilitators, and we've started a program there. And as Dr. Bird says, it's not just about training parents, but training parents to be peer parents. So what we do is we're taking people in community, training them to be parents, and telling them now you must train your neighbor. You must train the next person.
But I wonder what the reaction to that is, because you find a lot of people will say, you can't tell me how to raise my child. So they will listen to you as an expert, but for someone, even if you're trained as a peer, who are you? So I'm wondering, have you received any negative feedback?
No, actually no, our parents love it, because it's not so much me telling you what you must do, you know. It's me engaging you in the conversation so that you find your way to be that type of parent. I cannot tell you how to raise your child. But what I can do is we can talk, and we can talk about discipline. And we're going to say, okay, fine, we need to discipline our children. That's a fact. How do we go about it? What do we want to achieve with discipline? How can we do it? What are the options that we have? What works? What do you do? What works for you? Have you thought about this? What about this? Do you think this could work?
Exactly.
Think about this one. Try this one. And so what it becomes is that you have the ownership eventually of the strategies that you are going to use in your home. But the truth is, underlying it all is that fundamental respect for children. The children are people, right? They are not lesser people. They are equal people who need to be nurtured and disciplined in the right manner so that they can grow to be the strong adult citizens, able to make the right decisions and right choices and so on. So every parent wants that.
Yes.
All of us want our children to be like that. So once through the parenting program, we can engage you and show you how you can do this, no matter how poor you are. Because poverty is not so. We often define poverty as your money in your pocket. That is not really poverty. Yes, you don't have money, right?
So much more than just that.
That's right. So what we can do, the knowledge, the emotion, the thinking, the loving, those things can be in every household. That's the knowledge of how to love your children. How do we create that? How do we give you the knowledge to know how best to manage the issues that you're facing in your home? Okay, so that doesn't cost. That is available to, even if you don't have money, you can have that.
You can have that information.
So, right. And we know that because many of our people have grown in households that were materially poor, but they were emotionally and mentally rich.
Exactly.
Right? So that's what we want to create in every household. That's what Safe Spaces is all about. We're talking about...
But what really was the driving force to create that program? Because we know we have numerous social ills in Saint Lucia. As we were speaking about that before the show, that I believe a lot of it stems from the family and training and parenting and availability of resources. But what really was the driving force for Safe Spaces?
Okay. Throughout our history since 2007, we have been grappling with how do we create transformation? How do we create programs? And so we've tried a number of things, a number of initiatives throughout the years. So we said, what can we do to bring it all together? And I think Dr. Bird mentioned to me, she said, Stephen, you know about ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences? I said, well, I heard something about it. She says, no, look into it and tell me what you think. So I looked at ACEs and I began to appreciate, because there's theories. Well, how did things started? Dr. Fitelli, up in California, he was doing a clinic on obesity, and he couldn't understand how he had these young women who came to the clinic. They did very well, and then they would go back and they would become obese again. He couldn't figure out. Then he started to ask them questions, and first thing he clued into that sexual abuse was a strong factor in predicting whether they could comply with the decisions that they were making, or whether they would just refer back to. So they were incapacitated by these adverse childhood experiences that they had. So then they identified these 10 or so adverse childhood experiences, which are great predictors at your future life course. And in predicting not only your mental, your decision making, but your mental health, your physical health, a whole lot of things become correlated with these ACEs. If you're 4 more of these ACEs, you will find yourself more likely to be vulnerable to poor decision making in your life and getting into various problems. So that made us say, well, okay, do we need to simple. Let's address ACEs.
Yeah.
Can you eliminate adverse childhood experiences? So that is how we looked, or we went about designing the safe spaces. And that is why I come back to making that environment for the children. Eliminate adverse childhood experiences, and then we believe that we would actually go a long way to addressing our whole set of issues: mental, emotional, economic, and physical health issues. Okay?
Wow.
So, and if you search, anybody out there, if you search online,
I've never heard of it before.
ACEs, yeah. And there's actually one of the doctors, public health doctors in California as well, talking about it. Nice TED talk on ACEs. It tells you everything you need to know. Because she said, Eureka, I have found what is the problem and how we can, and more importantly, the solution to the problem. So Dr. Bird and I think that's the way to go. That's why we design the safe spaces. Now, the next thing is, how do we create the structures that can take that knowledge into the communities? Right? And what I liken this thing to is what I would like to have is like a pipeline or pipelines. And we are going to pump knowledge into communities. Because you see, a lot of people who are in difficult circumstances find it difficult to be engaged. Or we find it difficult to engage with them because they have other things to do, other problems that they're grappling with, bigger than you or I. So yeah, we have all this time to think about, but some people are just surviving.
Right.
And their brains are full of just almost like, static. Where am I going to get the next piece of bread from? What am I going to do tomorrow? Where am I going to get the shoe for my child? What's my child up to now? Where's the boy now? What's going on?
It's a lot.
So they're dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. So what can we do? So that's what we are trying to see how we can mobilize and penetrate all households, especially the most marginalized. And so that's what we've designed the safe spaces.
Okay. Well, this is a lot of information, and I'm very happy to have you on the show because I do have something that I need to talk to you about.
Sure.
Yeah. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. K.
We are Studio Fit and Healthy 911. Instructor-led classes that suits all your fitness needs. One-on-one personal training to small groups of 7 or larger groups. Soca Fit, boot camp, high-intensity interval training, indoor cycling, kickboxing, yoga, Pilates, and so much more. Studio Fit and Healthy 911, located in the Vet Clinic building, Bois-Rouge, Gros-Islet, where we defy limits.
If you haven't checked out Ramjay's Auto Parts yet, what are you waiting for? We stock a wide assortment of older and newer model popular car and SUV parts. Suzuki, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Honda, Nissan, Mini Cooper, and lots more. That's not all, Ramjay's also stocks truck and heavy equipment parts. And if that won't help you, we also do heavy equipment rental to keep your downtime at a minimal. Ramjay's Auto Parts is located Masad Industrial Zone, Gros-Islet. Contact us 450-0495 or 716-1400 or email ramjay35@hotmail.com.
Structures that you have in place for the Safe Spaces program and taking it into the communities. And I'm so happy you said that. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Your name came up in one of our WhatsApp groups last night. So the Forestier Youth Ambassadors, they met last week Thursday. It was their first meeting, and they wanted to, because there's no organized youth group in Forestier, which is in Castro Southeast. So a few of us, we went up there, this community I'm from, and we mobilized the young people. But first we wanted to find out what are some of the issues that you're facing, because we just don't want to come to tell you we're going to give you after school programs, sporting programs. We want to hear from you what it is that you need. So for them, they said, you know, we don't think Forest J has a big crime and violence issue. They're one-off robberies where you break into somebody's house, but it's not like someone gets attacked and that sort of thing. But funny enough for them, well, they share the same views as myself. They felt like, you know, a lot of the issues that they have starts with the home. So somebody in the group last night said, well, maybe we can bring on a specialist or an expert to talk to parents in the communities. And your name came up.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. King came up from Saint Lucia. So I know you started out in Cicero and some of the communities, but hopefully we can get you soon to Forestier, because I'm really happy that they were able to, you know, figure that out on their own. And they, as young persons between the ages of 13 to 17, are thinking that the problem starts at home. Because we had conversations with a lot of younger children who are asking the weirdest questions that you believe adults should be asking, but the subliminal messages are, you know, this is what I'm going through at home. And it's quite shocking to learn what is happening with those young people. So we would love to get you and your team up there and mobilize the parents from our community before we continue with any other activity. So
I mean, we're more than happy to. And I'd be happy to. And of course, I know I can speak for Dr. Bird and Samantha as well. And of course, our parenting facilitators. So I think, and what is nice, well, what you mentioned there, is that the group is identifying the problems that they want to address. And then, so that makes our life so much easier, because all we have to do is sit with you and say, okay, fine, this is what you probably want to address. Let's propose a number of different options to address it. Will this work? Will this work? Okay, this will work. Let's go with this. So that you have ownership of that process, and what we're doing is providing resources that can help you. And eventually, in fact, you take off and you don't even need these resources anymore, because you're running everything on your own. And as it's interesting you say that Forestier doesn't have a crime and violence problem, but it has own problems. And I'm absolutely sure there's domestic violence, there's physical abuse, there's sexual abuse, there's emotional abuse, right? Those are 4 ACs right there. Okay?
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Because children growing up in those environments are children that will be prone to having many issues, right? So, therefore, we need, which is why we need to get in and help you, and you help yourselves to address the problem. So the answer, simple answer is yes, not a problem. And Forestier is a beautiful part of the country as well. So, you know, it's all the more reason to be involved here. Well, it's lovely out there, you know, and so I think it's a really good move. And you know, we were talking about during the break about structures that we need to have in place. And you know, one of the things that we want to do is, and I'll come to the mobilization of people just now, but we want to create resource centers. Resource centers that are not your government resource centers. They could be, but not necessarily so. But resource centers that are more owned and managed by people in the know, that is people from the community in the know, and they're places where you can refer people or people can go to. So I
love that.
Yeah. You know, so let us say, let's take the Anthropo area, for instance, and let us say we get permission to set up a resource center in the resource center that's there, where the Anthropo Center is. All right. There, it's manned. You have people there who are connected. They have an employers database. They have training databases. They have links to various people. There are links to parenting trainers, links to violence interrupter trainers, links to people who do those kind of work, links to counselors, links to human services, links to the courts, and so on. So you, a mother, have a particular issue, your child, but you go there, you say, you know, I'm having this problem. What do you think we can do? And you say, okay, fine, well, we could do this, we could do this. So Similarly, you know a neighbor, you can refer them to the resource center. In addition, have the outreach, regular outreach programs into the community, walkabouts, go through, linking with the health and other people who might know, like community health aides, who would have information as to what the situation that people are in. So then these resource centers become truly that, and they become the bridge that connects people's needs to opportunities.
I think that is brilliant, Dr. King, because what I'm seeing is a lot of persons are intimidated about the fact that in the community of Forestry, for example, there are several district schools in that area, but there's only one counselor, and that person is not the counselor for the family, that person is the counselor for the schools. So a child who has an issue, you have to wait several weeks for you to see the school counselor, and it's intimidating for parents, to leave and go all the way to Castries, to the ministry to visit that person. So having that resource center within the community, I think is brilliant.
Yes, and because it's community managed and community owned, and we're thinking on.
And the thing is, you're taking somebody who doesn't even know the people, so I'm not comfortable speaking with you.
Exactly. So you have people who feels it knows it, who says it knows it. Now you may find that there are people, some people may not want to speak to that person, but even so, that person can link you to somebody else who you may be comfortable with, because solutions have to be tailored to people. It's one of my problems with the schools. It's not a one-size-fits-all system. So you have to design a system that's flexible to meet all needs. So, like you're teaching in a curriculum, put your bottom on the seat and I will teach you mathematics. 2 + 2 = 4. Now, hello, not everybody's going to learn that way. I might be the kind of guy who's going to learn because you give me 4 marbles.
Exactly.
Right? So we have to know how, so the solutions have to be tailored to the needs of the person and the attitude and the aptitude of the individual. So that's what those resource centers have to do. They have to be sensitive and flexible to the things to make the.
Are you working with the government on those resource centers, or
yes.
is it something arise? Oh.
Well, yes. Well, in fact, when I say working with the government, I've spoken to a couple of the government ministers who are giving support to this initiative. So I expect to get government support. But if we don't get government support, we still have to go ahead. Back to the original WPP project I mentioned, we know we can do it. Now, where I first saw some of this happening was in the UK. I saw the UK government actually had resource centers in communities that were local and people could just walk to and they would get the information, the knowledge they require to deal with their problems. So that's where I saw it first, and I went to a few of them. And I said, well, we can do this too. So that is really what it's about. Now the next thing, we want to train people in community. So we were figuring out how to do that. And that's when we came up with futsal, by the way. Football. It's futsal. So we have teams of 14 people. But the futsal is that we are training people who are.
Oh, you started that?
We just about to start.
Okay.
We haven't started yet. We're in the process of getting sponsors and stuff. But we're going to start. Right? What we want to do is teams of 14, we're training them to be aware, socially aware, know how to do violence interruption, know how to do conflict resolution, link them also to the resources so they understand what families need. So they're in the communities. So they're going to be the eyes and ears and the first line responders, or the first responders to issues. And the intent to run is a league, a peace league, so we're going to be running it from now on with the Football Association. Now, that's just one particular way of penetrating into communities to build capacity in communities, create knowledgeable people who can link people to resources to make them knowledgeable.
Yes.
Back to this whole concept of pumping knowledge into every household. But also the similar model can work for the arts, and whatever. You can use drama. There are so many different ways.
Because I was just about to ask you, aside from the resource centers, and well, a lot of us who are skilled in being safe talkers, in safe spaces, I know you would have plans to use us in the future. What other avenues are you exploring aside from the resource centers and the safe spaces?
Right. Now let's get to the safe talkers.
Okay.
We want to train many more people in safe talk because that's suicide.
They've been asking for it. Oh my gosh, the people from United and Strong, from Herstoa, from Girls of a Feather, they were like, we wish we had the information. Okay, great.
We're gonna have Shane.
Very happy to
we're gonna have Shane again.
come back.
We're gonna do more. In fact, Shane was saying he wanted to do all the schools and every Saint Lucian should be trained in safety. So we should have 180,000 people trained in safety. Because it's only how you're supposed to relate to people and listen so that you can actually make sure that people are kept safe. That's what it's all about. So
we should be caring about each other.
We should be caring, because ultimately social transformation demands social cohesion, which demands us caring and loving each other. And Safe Talk is all about that. So we have every intention. We just tried Safe Talk, I must tell you, with your group, 30. We trained about 90 people, because we trained some Sister Secondary School children. But Sister Secondary School, by the way, we're proud of Sister Secondary School. That is our one of our pilot schools, right? And the other two in the community, the combined school and the Lady Gordon Opportunity Center, are the other two that we are bringing on as well. But they were there and they did Safe Talk, 20 or so of those students, and that they feel so powered up because of it. So, in fact, they're doing a march next week. That's for another show. Yeah, right. That's lovely.
That's very good.
Very good. And similarly, some ministry people got trained, and of course, our own people like yourself got trained in the Tapion conference room. But we want to take it everywhere. And so in every community, you're supposed to have your safe talkers.
Yes.
And if a safe talker, so back to the resource center now, let's say a safe talker identifies there's a problem. This young person or this person is, let me hold their hand, let me keep them safe, let me take them somewhere. And the resource center is right there. So you can go there, and that resource center should be linked, will be linked to shall we say, more professional health care workers, more mental health counselors and so on, psychiatrists, etc., to mobilize for that person, right? Or for that matter, to take the person to wherever they have to be taken. But making sure, again, that we have the structure. When we say keep safe, we also have the structure. So you don't, oh my goodness, I'm dealing with this problem now. Here's somebody who might be thinking about suicide, or is thinking about suicide. What do I do now? So we want to solve that piece. And so we run the resource centers to do that. And of course, better yet, if our very safe talkers themselves know exactly where to go, they don't have to go to the resource center, they can go directly to the source of the resource themselves.
Okay.
Alright? That's okay too. Because it's not a matter of, oh, you must go to the resource center. No. Remember I spoke about flexibility. Horses for courses, solutions for problems for people. It has to be tailored.
Yeah, of course.
So, and that's the kind of empowerment we want. We want Saint Lucians living in communities that feel so empowered that they know they can resolve conflicts, they know they don't have to resort to violence, they know they can keep one another safe, they know they can get people into training, they know they can get people into jobs, they know they can get businesses started.
And do you think it's very possible, Dr. King, for us to get to that point?
Of course. Because first, like all things in life, the first thing you have to do is think it. You have to see it. From the time you envision it, it happens. That is life, that is history.
We have a lot of work to help change the mentality and the mindset too.
Have faith. You see, we are victims of a history. We are victims of a 400-year history of oppression and violence and division and dehumanization is our history. We need to rise, and use that word deliberately, we need to rise up against that historical dehumanization to realize that we are people. We are valid, valuable people in this world, and we deserve a quality of life. And not only do we deserve it, you don't have to give it to me because I am going to take it. I'm going to make it. And that's what we want, how we want our people to be. And I'm absolutely sure that we can. I just have to have that faith. And we have to come together, because once we are together and we start thinking as a collective, there's so much we can do. Because this country has lots of resources, right? It's just that they're sequestered, this one, only a few people know about this, and only a few people know about that. And that has to change. And that's why the resource centers, I would like them to become these knowledge repositories, where the people can go there and find out anything that they need. You want to start a business, you can go there. You want to get your house fixed, you can go there. You want to get a job, you can go there. You know, and then we want to make this in all the various places. Now, we want to do it as a social entrepreneurship business model as opposed to a government grantee model or government budgeting model. Because we believe that actually people, when you start to do this, the community resources will begin to grow. And the communities themselves will, right, and they will give back. So for instance, just like the employment agencies, you get a job. Well, hello, 10% of your salary, give it back to the resource center, into the budget. So the
Yes,
resource center
of course.
can do the work it's supposed to
I
do.
agree.
You have a business, you got started through the micro enterprise loan that you got, give back. You are volunteer, all you have is your time, give it.
But we still want to hold the government accountable.
Of course.
So we're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the policies that we want to see changed in Saint Lucia. Thank you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We are Studio Fit and Healthy 911, instructor-led classes that suits all your fitness needs. One-on-one personal training to small groups of 7 or larger groups. Soca Fit, boot camp, high-intensity interval training, indoor cycling, kickboxing, yoga, Pilates, and so much more. Studio Fit and Healthy 911, located in the Vet Clinic building, Bois Groselet, where we defy limits.
If you haven't checked out Ram J's Auto Parts yet, what are you waiting for? We stock a wide assortment of older and newer model popular car and SUV parts. Suzuki, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Honda, Nissan, Mini Cooper, and lots more. That's not all, Ram J's also stocks truck and heavy equipment parts. And if that won't help you, we also do heavy equipment rental to keep your downtime at a minimal. Ram J's Auto Parts is located Masad Industrial Zone, Groselet. Contact us 450-0495 or 716-1400 or email ramj35@hotmail.com.
Some of the changes you want to see in policy by our government. Tell us what are the things that you're looking for that you believe can really take us to the next step.
You know, all I think I would ever want of a government is a government that truly supports the development of its people, that protects the most vulnerable, that is cognizant that it holds everything near and dear in this country, including our land, our sea, our culture, our history. It holds all of that in trust for the generations that are to come. That to me is what a government is supposed to do. I have little patience with the governments that I have seen over the years in Saint Lucia because they seem to me to a large extent pay lip service to those fundamental things.
It's not a priority.
Not a priority. The core things that determine our quality of life don't seem to be their priority. Their priority is winning offices, winning votes, and getting into an office, so that they can then do whatever projects they want to do. Now, sometimes there's there's some sort of shall we say resonance with what the people want as well, because yes, you get votes by doing what people want.
Yeah.
But truly, we are also living in an environment where our people are not as knowledgeable as they should be and not as empowered as they should be. So what you're finding is that every 5 years here we go to the table to vote or the booth to vote. But in between, what do?
Yeah.
We go to the media and complain. Our civil society organizations are weak, and we are one in Rise, and we understand how weak we can be, but we also understand our strength. I seem to remember when we wanted them to back up the Illinois Institute of Technology scholarships to get our people to go and capitalize on the STEM scholarships that we got in the US. We took them to the wire, and we would have taken them beyond the wire if we had to take them. But so we need much stronger civil society. Having said all of that, government policies have to be based on human development. I remember in the Senate one time, I was in the Senate, I said, if you look at the human development cycle, from birth all the way through childhood, through our early adulthood, into our middle age, to our elderly stage, then to our death and our legacy and our pass on of the baton, right? That human development cycle, government is supposed to be ensuring that every part of that cycle is maximally improving and maximally developing at all stages. So our old people are important.
They're not. They should not be left out.
No, they are repositories of experiences, lived experiences, wisdom of the years that should be brought to bear to pass that baton on to the younger ones who are just coming and maybe are not aware of all these things. But that's that intergenerational mix. And that's what RISE believes in. That's why we are older people. But we love to be with younger people and have conversation. And respectful conversation. What do we say? Respect, connect, guide. Respectful is from the 2-year-old, 1-year-old, pregnant mother, fetus, respect, and connect, and guide. So that is what a government should be focused on. Rather than focusing on self, party, and then the people, the other way around. The people and their development first. Don't sell us out. You're giving concessions to people, foreigners to come here to invest. What do we, the people, benefit from those concessions? Is it merely the employment, or are we ensuring that these people that we're giving concessions to have to partner with us so that we can develop, so we can actualize? Because why should we have 25% unemployment in our country and almost 40% unemployment in our youth, and yet still we have other people that have jobs? And where's a business environment that is driving, that can cause our young people to have their own businesses or their own training? We are leaving our young people to languish. And we say that, where are the government policies? I remember talking to the government before about having a national youth service. People said, oh, that's passé, doc. I said, well, I'll tell you what. It's not passé for me to take, when a young person leaves school, at whatever age they leave school, tell them, you know, young man or young girl, you're not into you're not going into higher education, you're not going into a job. Come into this apprenticeship youth service program for the next 2 years.
Yes.
Give you life skills, we put you into a place where you want, you know what I mean?
Because we focus, okay, we want to create jobs. We focus on our tourism industry, we focus on all of those things. The jobs, we can create them, but a lot our young people don't even have the knowledge to be able to really function properly in those jobs, which is why I'm very happy that you and our Saint Lucia are doing this thing. You're starting with the root causes of the problem, and like you said, very early, education, knowledge. That when you have the education, when you have the knowledge, you as a young person, you can become empowered to create those employment opportunities for yourself and for other people like yourself.
Like I look around here, I see young people doing a business. I don't know the rest of your business, but I see young people doing business.
It's all young people in the studio.
See, so that's knowledge that has allowed you all to come together and do a business. Now, I would like every Saint Lucian in every community to have those opportunities, not necessarily to do this business, but similarly to do what they have a passion, God's gift to them, that they can realize. Because everybody has a gift, but unfortunately we're being smothered, or it's being smothered by, I think by, well, yes, poor government policy, poor societal thinking, right? And a lack of appreciation, a lack of facilitation as to what the power of our young people.
We're not developing those other skills. We're just focusing on just the business management, the marketing, just
very
those
narrow,
things.
very narrow. We're not allowing the young people to to let their passion, let them work where their passion is. So that's why I thought of a youth service, yes, funded by government, but so that there be no young person left, shall I say, disconnected. So they're all connected, but you come into the apprenticeship program, and we apprentice you in the area of your passion. If you use drama, we put you with
Give me something
we
that
put you
I care about.
with Daniel Dubois and them, and off you do your thing. You know, if you're into photography or thing, put them with you.
Yes.
You don't have to. All you have to do is be with them, show them, expose them, and then their minds develop. You may want to keep them, or they may say, well, I know now what to do, I'm going to go and do it on my own. Okay, beautiful. So that's...
But you're giving them the opportunity to develop their passion and their skills.
Exactly.
Yes.
So these are the sorts of things that I think, and that's just one little example of developmental things that government should be doing. The government every day. I remember reading one time that the Maasai have a saying, a greeting, how are the children? Right? That's how we say good morning. That's one of the good morning greetings, how are the children? Every single government official should ask that question every day when they go to work, when they open their door, they sit on their desk. So how are the children today? How are the children? And if you find anything not right with the children now, then use the office to make it better for those children, because that is what you as a government are supposed to be doing.
Very, very powerful words, Dr. King. Thank you so much. I know we are all out of time, but I know you have to come back on the show, and we're looking forward to having you in for us, just so we could, tap into that group of young people and really explore some of the issues that they are dealing with and how we can help them. Dr. King, thank you so much.
Link me up,
for
and
joining us.
I'll be up there.
Yes. You don't have to say it twice. I'm going to call you tomorrow, and we're going to set it and move quickly on it. So to our viewers, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Uncut. Stay tuned to more. Next week we have another special guest. We look forward to seeing you. Have a good day.